Donald Trump loves to tell us that the economy is doing better than ever, that he revived it from the horrible economy we had under Joe Biden, which saw one of the longest periods of consecutive job growth in American history. But here's the thing. I told you last week when the new, second quarter economic report came out and it said, hey, we somehow grew at 3% for the second quarter of this year. I said that was highly suspect. We obviously shouldn't trust the White House's numbers because all other economic indicators are showing us the exact opposite of growth. So I don't know how you can take all of the bad numbers and somehow turn them into a good number, but that is exactly what the White House did. And then on Friday, we actually got a new report that 100% confirms everything I told you last week. I was right. And honestly, I'm not even happy about being right because the economic numbers we got on Friday are some of the worst I have ever seen in my entire life. And that's not an exaggeration. That's also what economists and analysts and data specialists are telling us. Because we got the June jobs report on Friday, July. And it showed that the United States economy only created 73,000 jobs for the month of July, which was more than 40,000 jobs below the estimated 117,500 jobs we were expected to create. So on its face, that's already bad, right? We're 44,500 jobs below estimates. Never a good place to be. You always want to be, obviously, above estimates on economic numbers. But that's not even the bad part. The bad part is this. What really made the latest jobs report concerning, however, was the downward revision of previous month's gains, which the Bureau of Labor Statistics described as larger than normal. The number of jobs added in May was revised downward from 144,000 jobs to 19,000 jobs, while the number of jobs added in June was revised downward from 147,000 to just 14,000. Taken together, this means that the economy has added an average of just 35,000 jobs per month over the last 3 months. So basically, it was all BS. It was all a lie. All of those hundreds of thousands of jobs this administration said they created didn't exist. We gained 14,000, not 140,000. Now, I remember, and by the way, I've said this plenty of times, typically jobs reports after a couple months are revised downward. But in the Biden administration, this was a scandal, right? Oh, they revised the jobs report down by 30,000 jobs. They're lying to us. We need investigations. They had to revise it down by over 100,000 jobs per month. Even Fox News on Friday, when these numbers came out, they panicked and said, this is horrific. Let me read you some statements. Economic analyst Joe Weisenthal said, quote, brutal. If you exclude these two job categories, job growth has been running negative for 3 straight months. And what he's referring to is that nearly all of the jobs that were created, actually created, not the fake numbers, almost every single job was either in the healthcare or social assistance industry. 2 industries propping up right now the entire labor market for the United States. And if you subtract the jobs created in those 2 sectors, we're running negative now. That's how bad job growth is in the United States under Donald Trump's policies. He owns this. And this should be the biggest story on planet Earth right now. Heather Long, chief economist at Navy Federal Credit Union, said that the report was a game changer and not in a good way. The labor market now looks a lot weaker than expected. This puts a September rate cut from the Federal Reserve back on the table, which of course would mean skyrocketing inflation, but we have to do something to spur business growth because God knows Donald Trump's trade policies aren't doing it. Market analyst Adam Crisafulli said, hard to overstate how bad this jobs report was. Jessica Fulton, senior fellow at the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies, said, "The economy continues to show signs of weakening even as the White House pushes policies that will raise costs and make it harder for families to make ends meet. Labor market cracks that showed up for black women earlier this year are beginning to expand, with black male unemployment reaching 7% this month. Black workers are often laid off first when the economy slows down." So yes, black people are losing their jobs at higher rates right now, which is an indicator that the entire economy is slowing down. Folks, that 3% number the administration gave us last week for second quarter economic GDP growth, it's fake. You can't have months where you only added 14,000 or 17,000 new jobs and expect anyone to believe that our economy is booming. And as I said, it's 100% from Trump's policies, because businesses are not able to make decisions, which means investments in either expanding or hiring new people, when they don't know what Trump is doing. They don't know what tariffs are going to be tomorrow. Is he going to wake up in a bad mood because he slept wrong and say, you know what, screw it, 50% tariff on anybody that doesn't call me Mr. Shiny Face? I don't know, something stupid. But those are the decisions businesses have to make, and they have repeatedly told us, they can't make those decisions because they don't know what the schizophrenic man in the White House is going to do. So the economy shrinks, the job market dries up almost completely at this point, being held up by two industries that are somehow managing to expand, so good for them. I cannot overstate how bad this is. I have never in my lifetime seen jobs reports revised down by 100,000 jobs. And again, when the Biden administration did it by a couple 10,000 jobs, it was a massive scandal that Republicans wanted investigated. Where are those calls for investigation now? This administration is cooking the books to make you think it's not as bad as it is, but they can't hide all the numbers, not all the time. And the ones we are getting show that we, as a country, under Trump and the Republicans' policies, are worse off than ever before. If you've ever wondered how scammers get your phone number or why your inbox is flooded with spam, this is why. There are companies called data brokers that sell your data. They do it without your consent, and they make billions of dollars selling it to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. And while they're legally required to remove your info if you ask, they make the process confusing and hard on purpose. That is why I recommend today's video sponsor, Aura, to my family and friends. They take care of the hard part, automatically removing your info from these sites and keeping it off. Aura is all-in-one digital security. You may already have a digital security tool, but not having Aura is like locking the front door but leaving the back door open. Aura gives you alerts if your personal info is found anywhere on the dark web. They have real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking, 24/7 monitoring to help keep your identity secure. They also offer a secure VPN, antivirus, password manager, and so much more. They have US-based support available around the clock if anything at all goes wrong. And if anything does happen, Aura includes $5 million in identity theft insurance protection. And they have US fraud experts ready to help 24/7. It's one app with every layer of protection. I don't want to leave myself vulnerable online, and you shouldn't either, and that's why I personally use Aura. And you can try it for yourself. Go to aura.com/Farron to try 14 days for free. That's enough time for Aura to start scrubbing your personal info off these data broker sites without you having to lift a finger.